Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the September meeting of the Pittsylvania County Planning Commission. The time is 7 o'clock. Roll call, please.
Mr. Webb?
Here.
Mr. Brown?
Here.
Mr. Waters?
Here.
Ms. Meese? Here. Mr. Dalton?
Here.
Mr. Oakes?
Here.
Ms. Henderson?
Here.
Mr. Harker?
Here. Please join me, if you will, for a moment of silence and followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Hearing of the citizens, is there anyone here tonight to speak to this board concerning a matter that's not on the agenda? If not,
You've got a hand.
Sir, got a hand back in there.
yes, sir.
Can't hear.
Appalachian Power, that's on the agenda. We'll be getting to that in just a few moments. Yes, sir. Thank you. Anybody else? The floor is open for a motion on the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that the agenda is approved.
Motion by Mr. Waters. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Webb. Thank you. Motion carries 7 yes, 0 no. Approval of the minutes. Floor is open for a motion on approval of the minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we approve the minutes.
Motion by Mrs. Meese. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Oakes. Please cast your vote. Motion carries 7 yes, 0 no. Chairman's report. I do not have anything to report this month. At 7:03, public hearing is open. Ladies and gentlemen, pursuant to Article 5, Division 7 of the Pittsylvania County Zoning Ordinance, we, the Planning Commission, have been empowered to hear and decide specific applications in support of said ordinance and to make recommendations to the Board of Supervisors or the Board of Zoning and Appeals. In accomplishing this important task, we are charged with promoting the health, safety, and general welfare of the citizens of Pittsylvania County. We must ensure that all our decisions and recommendations be directed to these goals and that each be consistent with the environment, the comprehensive plan, and in the best interest of Pittsylvania County, its citizens, its posterity. Anyone here to speak to the board regarding zoning cases will be limited to 3 minutes. At 7:04, case R-23-025 is now open for public hearing. Mrs. Ragsdale.
Case R-23-025, Michael and Jane Kendrick have petitioned to rezone 3 parcels totaling 27.92 acres located on State Road 847 Sam Haley Road and State Road 848 Joe Carter Road in the Tunstall Election District from R1 Residential Suburban Subdivision District to A1 Agricultural District to allow the properties to be used for agricultural purposes. Once the property is rezoned to A1, all uses listed under Section 35-178 are permitted. The staff summary is enclosed in the board packet. Mr. Chairman, Jane Kendrick is here to represent the petition.
Good evening. Good.
Good evening.
Do you have anything you'd like to tell this board that we don't already have in our packet?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm retired, and I've always wanted to do some different things with animals and stuff, and that's what I plan to do. And I want all the land to be the same. We're out, excuse me, on a dirt. Excuse me. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
We're out on a little country road, and most of our land is rural. Most of the area land is rural, and we just want it all to be consistent.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
No one has signed up to speak for or against this case. Is there anyone here that would like the opportunity? Okay. At 7:05, public hearing is closed. Mr. Oakes,
Mr. Chairman, in case R-23-025, I make a motion that we change the zoning from R1 to A1.
is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Ms. Henderson. Please cast your vote. Motion carries, 7 yes, 0 no. At 7:06, case S-23-014 is now open for public hearing. Mrs. Ragsdale.
Case S-23-014, Appalachian Power has petitioned for a special use permit on 9 parcels totaling 140.67 acres located on or off of State Road 708 Long Circle, U.S. Highway 58, Martinsville Highway, and State Road 952 Blackbird Place in the Tunstall Election District to allow for transmission lines. Staff summaries enclosed in the board packet. Mr. Chairman, a representative from Appalachian Power is here to represent the petition.
Yes, sir. Please state your name when you make it to the podium for the record.
Yes, good evening. Daniel Fraser with Power Engineers, an engineering and environmental consultant representing Appalachian Power. This evening I will,
I think they're working on getting your PowerPoint up.
as soon as that comes up, I can go through a brief presentation of the project for you all. All right.
Looks like you're up.
Good deal. All right. So the Brosville Transmission Upgrades Project includes a proposed 138 kilovolt transmission line and a new substation adjacent to the city of Danville's Danville Utilities West Fork substation between the communities of Brosville and West Fork on the south side of US Route 58. So this evening I'd like to start with the why behind the project, give you a brief description, and then talk about how we got to where we are today. So the Brosville Transmission Upgrades Project will deliver an additional transmission voltage power source to Danville Utilities and the local transmission system. Danville Utilities distributes electricity to approximately 42,000 customer locations in their service territory, which includes the southern portion of Pittsylvania County. Their local transmission system supports 15 schools, a hospital, 3 nursing homes, 2 industrial parks, and that's in addition to the thousands of commercial and residential customers that they serve. And so this additional power source will be delivered to increase electric reliability for the community, for Danville Utilities' local transmission grid, and that local transmission grid will be better positioned to support existing and future development in the community because of this project. So the project includes the Brosville transmissions, or the Brosville substation, which is located next to the existing West Fork substation. I'm not sure if you can see on the map, but it's the blue triangle towards the bottom of the screen is where the proposed substation would be located. And then the proposed Brosville 138 kilovolt extension between that proposed substation and an existing Appalachian Power transmission line on the north side of Route 58. So starting with the kind of a description of the substation, the Brosville substation is proposed to be constructed on 2 parcels that are owned by the city of Danville. They're shown and outlined in pink on the map. Appalachian Power has obtained easements from the city of Danville to construct and operate the proposed substation on these parcels. The existing substation is the gray rectangle at the top left of the map, and you can see there's a white dashed line which depicts the proposed substation. You can also see the proposed access road in yellow and stormwater ponds in blue. This representative photo shows a similar substation. The proposed substation will be an approximately 210 by 190 foot fenced and graveled area. The estimated maximum height of the substation equipment will be 60 feet above ground. Switching to the transmission line, the proposed Brosville 138 kilovolt extension is a 1 mile long transmission line connecting the proposed substation to Appalachian Power's existing Axton to Danville number 2 138 kV line. The line begins at a new structure near Blackbird Place, travels southeast for approximately 1 mile, crossing Route 58 near Bethany Baptist Church, and then going down to Long Circle where the proposed substation will be located. The proposed transmission line will be built primarily using double circuit monopoles similar to the photo shown there. 12 structures are proposed to be installed along the transmission line route. The average height of the structures is approximately 105 feet. The typical right-of-way width for the proposed transmission line is 100 feet, but that does vary along the route depending on specific needs, topography, and land uses. Appalachian Power has obtained the easements or is purchasing property to construct and operate the proposed transmission line across 8 parcels in the area. So now I'd like to talk about how we got to this point. Appalachian Power completed a route selection study in 2022 to determine the final line route for the transmission line. Factors such as natural and cultural resources, land uses, environmental justice, community input, engineering feasibility, and constructability were all considered in that route selection study. The process began in early 2022 by developing initial study segments and looking at alternatives. In April of that year, Appalachian Power hosted a public open house at Brosville Elementary School and invited landowners in the area to provide feedback on the study segments. 12 community members attended the public open house, and 6 comment cards, phone calls, or emails were received about the project. Those comments were considered by the project team and were incorporated into the route selection process. A project website was also published for the public to view the maps online and provide comments in that form. Considering that community input, Appalachian Power evaluated alternative routes and identified the proposed route in June of last year. The proposed route was selected because it minimizes the length of the line, impacts the fewest number of landowners and parcels, avoids residences, and minimizes impacts to the natural and human environments. And in the last year, Appalachian Power has worked with the affected landowners to secure the easements and property needed for the project. So finally, the Brosville Transmission Upgrades Project is consistent with the purpose and intent of the Pennsylvania County Zoning Ordinance to promote the health, safety, and general welfare of the public by providing reliable public utilities to the community and to the county. Additionally, the project supports the goals of the Pennsylvania County Comprehensive Plan to provide the public utilities necessary to support the growth objectives of Pennsylvania County in a cost-effective and environmentally sound manner. So accordingly, Appalachian Power requests that you find the Brosville Transmission Upgrades Project conforms with the Pennsylvania County Comprehensive Plan, and that you recommend approval of this special use permit to support the local transmission system and increase electric reliability in Pennsylvania County. And thank you. I'll be happy to take any questions you may have.
Any questions?
I got one. Out of these 8 parcels, do y'all have a purchase agreement on any of them? Or is it all going to be easements?
There is a purchase agreement on one of those 8 parcels, yes.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Mr. Frazier. I might have you come back up if there's any questions that come up. William Shelton?
Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Yes, sir.
As you know, my name is William Shelton. I live at 13184 Martinsville Highway. My daughter lives at 13180 Martinsville Highway. And I have 2 concerns. One concern is both of us have implanted devices. And you know, those power lines generate RF radiation. And I don't know what kind of effect that radiation will have on her because she have a defibrillator pacemaker. I have a pacemaker. And she is within less than 200 feet from the power line. I say 150 feet from the power line. And the other problem is, you know, how it's going to affect my property values, you know. But the main issue is the concern for our health. And when Mr. Sexton came out, he was the engineer that was obtaining the right-of-ways, all right? And he came out and he showed me a map of the proposed route. He wanted to come across my property. I wouldn't let him come because I didn't sign the agreement. And so no one was supposed to come on my property without my permission. And I was out in the yard one day and I saw the surveyors out there and it was coming up through my yard to my house, to the back of my house. And I said, what y'all doing? He said, well, we're going out here to a survey marker that we planted yesterday. I said, you planted a survey marker yesterday? He said, yes. I said, I didn't give anybody permission to plant that survey marker. So he went on and finished the survey out through the woods the way he wanted to come across my property, build a road, cut my trees to get to a tower they're going to put on the back side of the other property they had the right-of-way for. But like I said, they was less than stellar with me. And I didn't appreciate it. And I ended up calling West Virginia. I spoke with somebody up, I forgot his name. But they stopped them coming across my property. I said, if y'all got a right-of-way and had the right-of-way through that, why can't you cut your road up through that right-of-way? So apparently they hadn't got the property, hadn't gotten permission to cut the right-of-way. So they was trying to bypass all that and get everything lined up. But like I said, I couldn't get a definitive answer on the effects it would have on my devices and my daughter's device. Okay. And if you want to look at my map, you can see where the proposed right-of-way is and how close my daughter's house is to the power line.
Does the proposed right-of-way cross your property now?
It doesn't cross my property, but it's less than 100 feet from my daughter's house, less than 150 feet from my daughter's house.
Does it touch her property? In other words, does she give right-of-way?
No, it doesn't touch my property because there's another 100-foot lot between the proposed right-of-way and I think Miss Steele's owned that property across, all that property along the road. And so they are on the second lot from my lot, and they're on that second lot. And I think those lots is about 100 feet wide. Maybe a little bit wider down near the road because they show about 200 feet between two lots. Is 200 feet between those two lots.
Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Sheldon? If not, thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate
Thank you. Thank you for hearing me.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I just want to be clear, did you say, I couldn't hear very well, did you say it is not affecting your property lines at all now?
No, it's not on my property line. No, because they, like I said, I didn't give them permission to cross my property. But they did come across and did start doing surveying.
Okay.
And did put up survey stakes on my property. And what bothered me was that the surveyor that was out doing the surveying, I said, why are you surveying without permission? He said, well, they gave me permission. And so apparently they wasn't straight up about the whole affair.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sheldon.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Frazier, did you have anything else you wanted to add or in response?
So I guess briefly I will, respond that, I'm not aware of specific instances or details, so I'm not able to speak to, if a surveyor did access the property. However, I will note that the project does not affect the properties in question here. And as to potential health effects, electric fields or magnetic fields, which do do occur naturally in nature and wherever electricity is flowing, have not been shown to have a direct correlation with negative health effects when you are away from the source of the EMF. So there's not a direct correlation there. I'm not an electrical engineer, but there's not a conclusive answer about the health effects.
You can't speak specifically, but just in general, what is Appalachian Power's normal operating procedure when they need to access a right-of-way through someone else? What's kind of the best practices there?
Yeah, absolutely. So the best practice and the typical process is Appalachian Power, through their agents, will reach out to landowners and request. It typically begins with a permission to survey, which grants access to the property before an easement is signed for purposes such as surveying and that type of thing. Once the surveying is complete and easement drawings are created, that is when an agreement would be entered into with the landowner. So that would be the same for a transmission line crossing the property, a right-of-way, as well as for an access road needed for surveying or construction, anything like that.
So ideally, before an agent or a surveyor comes onto the property or has to go across, someone like Mr. Sheldon, normally Mr. Sheldon would be contacted first and verbal permission given?
That's correct.
All right, thank you. Anybody have any questions? You do? Ms. Henderson?
Thank you for being with us, and if I can address Mr. Shelton, thank you for your comments. I do have a follow-up question to Mr. Shelton's concerns about that RFID emission. So the upgrade, is there any type of study, or has there been any type of study that could be accessed by the public that, let's just say, if something did happen to one of the constituents, that they would have some form of recourse since they are voicing concerns and his daughter living in so close a proximity to the project?
So no site-specific study has been completed for this project. Appalachian Power and AEP Transmission do provide resources and information on the website aeptransmission.com, and that provides information of different research that has been completed and resources for landowners and the public to access.
Okay, just one more question, if that's all right, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
That is, and thank you for the answer, but that is very concerning, given there's a lot of radio frequency concerns nowadays, and especially a load upgrade this size. I can definitely see concerns going forward. I would really like to know if it's possible, with maybe permission from the board, if it's possible for AEP to even reach out to Mr. Shelton and maybe, or have him put in touch with someone, because if they do experience a deterioration in their health, to have a touch person that they could get some definitive answers from. Information on a website can be vague. So that's quite a concern.
Absolutely, and I think we can commit that we will continue to reach out to and follow up with Mr. Shelton. I believe representative of Appalachian Power has already been in conversation with Mr. Shelton, and we are happy to continue those conversations going forward.
Oh, thank you for that.
Anybody else? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
At 7:24, public hearing is closed.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
if I may, their application also did include the substation. That's in your packet, but I
Yeah.
failed to mention that when I was giving
Yeah.
my introduction, so I just wanted to bring that to your attention.
Who we got? Whose district is this anyway?
Mr. Oaks.
Mr. Webb?
Oaks.
Oh, Mr. Oaks, I'm
Yes,
sorry.
sir. Me. Mr. Chairman, in case S-23-014, I'll make a motion that we give a special use permit with the one condition that if they have to get off the easement that they have obtained, that the people involved will be notified in advance.
Motion by Mr. Oaks. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Webb. Please cast your vote.
Make it legal. Good.
Mine didn't come up.
How would you like to vote?
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion carries 7 yes, 0 no. Old business.
Just reminding you all that we will have our final bi-monthly zoning ordinance update workshop in October. Robin will be sending out an email with the date. We are moving it to Wednesday, the second week, because Columbus Day is that Monday, so we had to move Planning Commission to Board of Zoning Appeals to Thursday. So we'll be Wednesday that week, but we'll send that date out in time, so just be looking for that in the next week or so.
New business.
We will have a meeting next month. We have 2 rezoning cases, 3 special use permit cases, and a sign permit application that you all will be hearing.
Okay. Anything else?
Mr. Chairman, I would like to say something. This is something personal, but I'm proud to announce that my mother will be 103 September the 18th. So we're having a little party at the nursing home in Gretna at 2 o'clock on the 17th. And any of you commissioners or staff would love to come by and help us celebrate, I would love to have you.
What was the day again?
The 17th
17th?
is when we're having the party
Okay.
for our out-of-town family, but her birthday's on the 18th,
103.
which is amazing.
Anybody else? All right.